I'm reminding you, meeting. I'm reminding you, meeting.
Okay, I'm gonna mute.
Afternoon.
Hey, Tom. Okay, I've got 4 o'clock. I think we have a quorum. Are you there, Betty?
Hello, everybody.
Oh,
I finally made it on.
Good.
But I'm joining you by phone, Jim.
okay.
So I will not be able to see, or I'm in the mountains and don't have access to internet.
Okie doke. Well, we
Have
appreciate
you called it?
chiming
Have
in.
you called it to order yet? Have you called to order?
Just now, I was taking a roll
Oh, I'm so okay.
to make sure that we had a quorum, and definitely, I think Betty is on by telephone as well.
Okay.
And I can see Tom and Kevin smiling faces, so that makes us
Good.
So with that, we'll call
We're legal.
we're legal, and we'll call the Town of Somerville Planning Commission for July 20th, 2020 to order. First order on the agenda is the approval of minutes from meeting on June 15th, 2020.
I move approval as emailed out.
Second,
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further comment on those? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Stand approved. Second is the approval of minutes from the special meeting on June 22nd, 2020. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second,
I have a motion and a second. Is there any comments? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? The ayes have it. Public hearings, the next order of business, public hearing. A request to rezone TMS number 14404130013, located at 411 Gulf Road, approximately 0.88 acres, and owned by Melissa and Clinton Avery from GR2 General Residential to NR Neighborhood Residential. It's in Council District 1. I believe the Averys are online with us. Did you want to speak to this?
Make sure you unmute yourself. There you go.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Yes, we want to apply for rezoning.
Okay, I think your purpose and everything was spelled out and quite clearly. You have anything that you want to add to that?
I mean, are you looking at anything specific? I mean,
No.
this is fairly new to us, but yeah, I mean, we're optimistic.
Okay.
Would you reiterate the purpose in rezoning to neighborhood residential?
I want this pool mostly for swim instruction. South Carolina ranks 10th in the nation of drownings per year. And what I teach is survival swimming. We do teach basic swimming, but our main focus is drowning prevention as far as accidental fall-ins with the pool. We teach people proper breath control to swim, rotate your back and float on your back, which is effortless. It's just breath control and posture. We mostly work with, like, my average clientele is probably 2, but we teach students from 8 months to adults. My swim school is called Sinker Swim School. I've been doing this for 11 years, and the biggest obstacle is having a pool exclusively just for this. We've leased pools in the past. We've used backyard pools in the past, but then you get into a parking issue. But this is a perfect situation for what we want to do. Not to mention, we can also use this for the community when we're not having swim instructions. We can use it for a senior day to have water aerobics. We can use it for swim parties. We can use it for a backyard party for someone that doesn't have a pool, but they want to rent it for a day or whichever it may be. But we see the opportunity and a win-win, not just for swimming, but just for a community pool for people to have.
And this will be a business and a for-profit business? Will there be a,
Sorry, no.
yes or
We're
no?
being required by the city to run it as a nonprofit, a not-for-profit.
Okay. I would
That's the reason the
love to
whole,
volunteer.
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. That's the whole reason for the rezoning.
Okay, all right. it's something I would love to get involved with because I firmly believe that no child should drown for lack of education in how to swim or be safe in the water.
And that is actually the number one reason why of drowning is lack of swimming lessons. And not to mention, I'm the only instructor. There's two in Mount Pleasant. There's one in Mount Pleasant, one on James Island. So there's only about 4 or 5 of us in the state that teach survival swimming. So I'd be the only one from probably, I'd say North Charleston to Columbia that teaches this type of
okay.
method.
I had a question. Is this going to be a membership club as the Dorchester Club was, or are you going to conduct this as a private or profit? I mean, nonprofit.
It's gonna be not memberships, just rentals. Memberships,
Okay.
I think there'd be too much chaos of who's really coming in and out. This way, with us doing rentals and swim lessons, we know who's going to be there at what time, and we'll always have a representative of us there representing the pool. So we always have it under the same eyes. So this way, before I think it was run, members could come and go as they please. And who's to say that someone would give their key to someone and say, hey, just go take my key to the pool. This way we know who's at the club and who should be at the club, because it'll be a scheduled visit for either swim lessons or a party.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Kevin, Carol, there appears from the MapQuest that there are tennis courts adjacent to this.
Hmm?
Are they still there?
They're still there, but now they're separated. We put up a fence because they're not operational as of right now. They need some construction. Right now, our main focus is the pool.
Okay, so where is the parking area? Because I drove by and I didn't see anything that looked as a parking area.
In the very front of the building.
Okay, so it's parallel parking.
Yes, sir.
Looks like about
Well,
8 to 10 cars.
most people pull in like they do around town square, Kevin.
Okay,
They pull in.
I feel like you can make a diagonal parking zone, and I've already
Right.
spoke with engineers about this. And our guess is we can get about 27 cars to park there. But when we have a party, we're going to cap it at 35 people. So we're not going to have large events there. I don't think I can
Okay.
hold it for that club. Not to mention parking.
now is there any
Who's gonna,
lighting on
who
this? Will this-
controls that?
Well, we will control it because we'll control who's in and out of the building.
Is there lighting at this facility for evenings?
But no, we won't function past evenings.
Okay,
If there's,
And with the-
if there's, no, so, for DHEC requires, lighting for the pool, it was around $10,000 for us to do that. So we have, decided not to do the lighting that's required for swimming at night. Now we may open the facility up for a party or a birthday party if they just want to use the pavilion in the evening, but not for nighttime swimming.
very good. Thank you very much.
So what would be the hours then it would be available?
Miss Bosley, hold on, it's not time for you to speak just yet.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay. Thank you, Avery's. And now I presume Ms. Bosley is here to make public comment.
Well, I just have a lot of questions, but I didn't know when I was supposed to speak up, so I apologize.
Well,
That's all
this-
right. And just make sure your questions are actually addressed at the commission, not at the applicant.
Okay,
And you can
So-
go ahead and start now, Miss Bosley.
okay. Well, I think my big question is, how is this going to be, how will these swimming lessons be offered? Who are they offered to? And is there a fee? And I mean, I don't understand how this all works. And what the zoning has to do with, I just feel like this is in a neighborhood with family houses all around. And how is that going to impact these families with the increase in the parking, the increase in the noise level, if they're going to have parties, and sounds like they're going to have parties in the evening. This concerns me for our neighborhood.
Yes, ma'am. I think I understand that, but this pool has functioned as a club before in the past. I know they had as many as 65 members. We're not going to have that many people at this pool. And now with new DHEC regulations, you can only have so many people per square foot at this pool. So we don't plan to function after dusk. And as far as swim lessons, people will reach out for swim lessons, and whether there's a fee or we do it as a underprivileged families and maybe single income families. I mean, that's how all that works. They'll go through a website looking for swim lessons. And this way, having a larger pool, and I can have other instructors with me, because we can't do this at certain pools just because of availability or space to a pool. If we can use it exclusively for swimming during set hours, it just makes it easier.
All right, thank you. Jesse, did we have any comments emailed in or written?
Yes, I do. And we also have one other person that wanted to speak that should be on. I don't know if he is
Tom
or not,
Epperson.
though. Mr.
Tom
Epperson, are you on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you want to go ahead and speak, you can.
Sure. I would like to say thank you for the opportunity to address the commission. I originally reached out because I saw a news, I think it was put out by Channel 5, saying this was now going to be open to the public, which greatly concerned me for a few reasons. As the applicant just articulated his plan, I think I would be in full support of it. I live just catty-cornered from the pool. I'm about 200 feet from the pool. I saw that there's something about a 100-foot buffer. Just for a matter of fact or record, the houses right across the street are only about 25 feet from the parking area. I was greatly relieved to hear that there's the intention to have a cap on the number of people at the pool. My big concern, the intersection at my corner is the intersection between Gulf and Old Gulf, and Gulf also transitions into Corey Wood at that point. That's actually a much more dangerous intersection than you would think. We've had multiple car accidents there. People come flying down from Boone Hill Road and come flying around the corner on Corey, not realizing that dog leg is there, and then they get into trouble right there within 100 feet of where the pool is. So if it were open to the public, I think that would pose a really serious hazard for families with young children who don't realize that traffic situation exists. And I think that would need to be looked at very carefully. If you're going to be doing it by invitation only, or by people who've paid to have lessons, or people who've made arrangements to rent the thing, all of that sounds completely compatible to me. We've lived with the Dorchester Club and the private members for years, and it has never been a bit of a problem. But my concern was that somehow in this rezoning, is there going to be a control in place so that down the road somewhere, they can't say, either the current owner or a future owner say, let's go ahead and open it up to everybody in the Tri-County area. Because I think that would be a very serious problem and a big detriment to the neighborhood. The question of this being the old village area, I think having a pool that somebody could use for family parties or special events, or these survival lessons. I have grandkids. I'm all about it. I think they sound great. But I'll probably reach out to see about getting my 4 grandkids survival swimming lessons. But I just wanted to be sure this isn't going to be opened up to the broader community, because I don't think the traffic congestion in the area needs that extra density added to it. And the other thing, I know that I walked over there and I saw that the sign says it was posted on the 5th, but it was situated in such a way that even though I drive down that road every single day, I had not noticed that rezoning sign because it's not facing the traffic as you're coming in. It's facing away, sideways across the road. So it really wasn't very visible. We only heard about this because of the Live 5 News story. So I would like to ask clarification on, is there something that prohibits this from being opened up to the broad community down the road somewhere? And I think if that answer is to my satisfaction, I don't see any other complaints about the rezoning from my perspective. Thank you.
Can we talk for a minute? This is the owners. So I have a full-time job. My husband has this one business. Our intention was never to open it up to having crowds and, the pools like over at Newington and Myler, they're packed, and we do not have the resources to even manage a facility of that nature. And we are required by DHEC. We're only allowed to have a certain amount of people per square foot of that pool. So it will never, ever, ever have, if you're thinking that we would just, take memberships and allow as many people in there as we can, that is not our intent for sure. Absolutely. I would think that the community would be happier that my husband is home because we're not going to be open from say 7 a.m. in the morning until 8 or 9 at night. They probably will not be there like even all day. So it does limit the amount of time. And even on the weekends, we knew we have a family, and the last thing we wanted to do was worry about a pool that was open on the weekends. And, drowning prevention is a large part of our life. And that was just not something we wanted to take on. And that was the reason we had decided not to open it up for memberships.
And Mr. Epperson, I have a question on I know the intersection you're speaking of, on Old Gulf Road and the road that goes to the left of that. It's almost a blind side. And when I come from that direction to the pool, I cannot see to my left, and I've seen accidents happen there already. I'm sure this is a DOT question or concern, but I think there should be a stop sign on that road as well, because I've seen wrecks where a person coming from the other direction hit a car taking a right off of Old Gulf Road. So I do agree that intersection should be looked at, and it is dangerous.
All right, thank you. Is there anything else, Jesse?
Yeah, I have, I think 9 emails to read into the record. So I will get started on those.
All right.
Okay.
The first one is from John Swartz. I am opposed to this request for rezoning. Adding an untold number of vehicles into this residential area will not promote any enhancement to the residential community character. The neighborhood roads are narrow and can't adequately accommodate the amount of traffic this venue would generate. In addition, there is limited parking space. Parking would be an enormous issue, resulting in parking in the right-of-way. Incidentally, there is already heavy traffic on South Main Street, the only viable path to the facility. The facility pool has already been renovated ahead of the Planning Commission's decision. I believe the facility should be designated for surrounding neighborhood use only as originally intended, thus eliminating potential problems with excessive traffic, parking, and other potential issues this venue could bring into a quiet neighborhood. All right. The next email is from Donna Butler.
What was the address on that, on Schwartz's? What was his address?
It was not given.
Okay.
Next one is from Donna Butler. As a tennis enthusiast, I am in favor of the Old Dorchester Club being rehabbed and preserved for future public use. Respect for the neighbors, some parking, possible lighting are concerns. I have not viewed a proposed plan, but encourage town officials to consider the healthy physical and social benefits this club will provide. I coach tennis and frequently play at Doty or other available courts. It is a lifetime game for all ages. I am excited to have the chance to play at a once popular club and refuel this game for others. Respectfully, Donna Butler, HHS Girls Tennis, 102 Birch Lane, Somerville. The next one is from Wiley and Sandra Morris, who live in Simmons Terrace. We are opposed to rezoning the Dorchester Club. This is a residential area that would be greatly impacted by an increase in traffic. The additional noise coming from use of the swimming pool and tennis court would be a quality of life issue in our quiet neighborhood. The next one is from Pamela Prophet. Please let this project happen. The public needs somewhere to get away from the private prisons we have been kept in for so many months due to COVID-19. Not to mention the jobs and revenue for Somerville, as so many businesses have been forced to close down for good. Not everyone has the luxury to drive to the beach for escape and recreation. We have seen what the virus has done to our children, having to be quarantined from school and classmates. If we just consider the positive side for this club reopening and be willing to give up some space for the buffer, we will see it as a way to teach our children what sacrifice really means. The next one is from Melanie W. And it just says Somerville. To whom it may concern, my family and I would love to utilize this facility if it opens. We would also love to see pickleball lines added to the tennis courts as well. Thank you. Next one is from Abraham Orantes. Hi, my name is Abraham Orantes. I live by the club on 401 Golf Road. How are you going to monitor the car pollution and noise pollution from the park? It's a quiet neighborhood in the day and night, and I would like it to stay that way. Also, if it does advance and becomes open, how are you going to prevent people from parking in other people's parking lots? I live in a townhome which has parking lot that anyone can park. I don't want to look for a parking spot in my townhome every time the club is full if they can't find parking. The next one is from Michael Collins at 105 Annie Circle. As a nearby resident, I feel the relatively small property would be better utilized as a residential use due to the potential for noise and increased traffic and parking. If it is the desire of the community to allow this proposal to proceed, I would suggest limiting the operation to daylight hours only. The next one is from Mary H. Stewart at 111 Mary Street. Thank you for the opportunity to participate via email. The new owners of this approximately 0.88 acres of land, Melissa and Clinton Avery, want to reopen the old Dorchester Club and redo the swimming pool, clubhouse, and tennis courts that currently need repairs. The property owners say the new outdoor recreational facility would be open to the public, not just the surrounding neighborhood. The above comments are from Channel 5. Why NR instead of GR5? GR5 allows recreational facilities outdoor. What specifically is the reason for this zone change request? Is it only the 100-foot buffer between the building and adjacent property? What else? Is the intent for the pool swim lessons only or general use of the pool? Sink or Swim website shows what appears to be this property with caption stating large pool, club pool ideal for students looking for swim team preparation. Are swim teams and or swim meets anticipated at this facility? Will tennis courts also be used? Individual use, teams, tournaments? What is the intent for clubhouse use? Is this to be a place for social gatherings? An indoor recreational facility, open evening hours, open year round? Will this property be rented out for special occasions? Repairs have been ongoing for quite some time. Concerns include limited parking, additional noise and traffic, as well as the general feel and atmosphere of a quiet residential neighborhood. Additionally, wouldn't zone change be difficult to undo should intended plans change or property change hands? And then the last one was from Connie Epperson. And it just said, to whom it may concern, we do not feel that there was adequate notice given that a rezoning hearing will be held. Please postpone this decision until further discussion can take place. Thank you for your consideration. But Tom, I guess her husband was able to participate in the meeting. So those are the emails I had.
Okay.
This is Linda Bosley. I still had a couple of questions. I'm sorry, and I wondered if I could still ask a couple of those.
Do you have any further information for us, Ms. Bosley? Or go ahead and ask your questions.
Okay. The under NR, it also allows for farmer market or some kind of a stand. So I know that the Averys, that's not their intent, but if they should one day decide to sell that property, then if someone else takes over, it would be open to have, under the NR, they would be able to open up a farmer's market or something like that. And So that would be another concern about the traffic and and I just don't understand. I think one of my things that I'm still not understanding is there a fee that's going to be paid to take the swimming lessons, and who gets that fee? And then how does that become nonprofit? And what is the definition of nonprofit, and what is the definition of compatible? How does that, a swimming pool and tennis courts, become compatible with the residential neighborhood of homes? And I've lived here for many, 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 many years, and I've only in my lifetime living here, right around the corner from the swimming pool, I've only seen 1 or 2 events there at that pool. So it's never ever been an issue before. And I just think, and I remember at the one time that someone did have a party there, that the traffic and the cars were all over the place, including on the property of some of the houses across the street from that pool. And it worries me, 35 people, 35 cars, it can't accommodate that. And then you've got little children coming in and out, and God forbid one of those little kids walks in between those cars and gets hit or something. I just worry that this is going to completely change that whole street, and is a little street. So those are some of my other concerns.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else, Jesse?
No, sir.
All right, with that, I'm going to close the public hearing. And we'll move on to old business. I don't see any on the agenda. New business, do we have street names?
No, sir.
No street names. Then I believe the next item on new business is this request to rezone. All right. Commissioners, do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
Have a second from Elaine. All right, is there any discussion? Commissioners have anything to say?
Kevin Carroll, I'd like to point this to Jesse. Jesse, this was GR2, and it was left inactive over 90 days, so there's no grandfather involved in this. And now it's being changed to NR5 to accommodate the new use. Is there something that restricts the business that will be using that other than us? I know we're just doing the zone. What would restrict their activity there to be, as they stated earlier? Is there something in the business license or something that would restrict that down the road?
There, in the definition of the outdoor, the recreational facility outdoor, in the definition of it, it has to be either public or a nonprofit. It cannot be a for-profit business.
But there's nothing about the quantity of individuals using it at any one time.
Well, no, that would go by the DHEC regulations in terms of the number of people allowed to use the pool.
Very good. Thank you.
This is Elaine Siegel. Jesse, could you clarify some of the neighborhood requirements as far as the possibilities of this opening Pandora's box, so to speak, concerns from some of the participants, from some of the public? Their concerns that it would open other issues with other uses.
The neighborhood residential, it allows for residential uses, and it does allow for some limited other uses, but those, I can't pull them up right now because I have this on my screen on my computer.
Right, I had the same.
So let me let's see. So neighborhood residential allows for dwellings, townhomes, a cemetery, a community facility or a cultural facility, which are conditional uses. So they would have certain conditions placed upon them. Park or playground, indoor recreation facility would have conditions placed on it. This outdoor recreation facility allows for an educational campus for a special exception, so that would have to go to the BZA. It does allow for a community garden or a, as she said, a roadside stand or farmer's market. And that's about all of the uses that are allowed under the neighborhood residential.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mhm.
Any other comment from the commissioners?
I have a question again. This is Linda Bosley. I'm not very new to this, so
Well, we've actually passed the point where you can speak, Ms. Bosley. This is just for the commission members to discuss.
okay.
And this is Tom Hart.
Yes, Tom.
I'd just like to make a comment. And Ms. Bosley, just so you understand, this is where the commissioners can discuss this in public so everybody understands what we're doing. And I'm going to explain my reasons here. I see this as almost a continuation of an existing use that was there, but in a much more limited fashion, since the proposed usage is going to be a reduction in the
Regulated.
volume of people. It's going to be a reduction in use of the tennis facilities at the present time, and there's going to be no nighttime usage of it. And I see that addresses a lot of the concerns that the people who emailed in, and I listened carefully to their concerns. It seemed like they were focusing on questions about lighting, which appears to be taken care of by the steps the Averys are taking. There won't be any or much nighttime lighting there, perhaps not as much as before. The parking is going to be limited because that was a concern the neighborhood had. And also there's a concern about noise. And it seems like the Averys' efforts to keep this as an invitation only event and or use of the pool and is going to cut down on noise. The fact that they indicate that if it is rented, it's going to be it's going to be limited to the number of people. That'll have effects in terms of reducing noise and also reducing the number of vehicles that'll be there. So it'll encompass the limited parking that is there. And I think an outdoor residential facility is in the character of a neighborhood. We're all used to having parks and things in our neighborhoods. I think this would enhance that. And finally, the fact that it's swimming, it's teaching people survival techniques in swimming. I've been around water most of my life. I was fortunate enough to have swimming education at an early stage. I'm by no means a great swimmer. I'm not a professional or anything, but I can keep my head. I can control myself when I get in the water. And I think that's a trait that should be shared by to all young people. And so for those reasons, I'm going to vote in favor of this when it comes time to vote.
All right, thank you, Tom. Any of the other commissioners want to speak? If not, I will, we have a motion and a second. We've held a discussion. I would call for the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Hearing no one opposed, and the ayes have it. This next order of business is the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee 2020 Improvement Priority List.
Yes, Jim, we have Rick Reef with the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee to speak on that.
Oh, fine. Okay, Rick.
Rick who? Rick who? Okay.
Thank you, Jesse, and thank you, Planning Commission members, for your time here this afternoon. I am the vice chair of the town's Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee. We have spent our last 3 meetings in March, May, and July just last week reviewing, updating, and looking at our recommendation list for your consideration, as well as the town's consideration for next year's budget. So I think that was, I think the lists were part of your agenda packet. Would it be proper to go through a couple of our top rated projects at this time, or can I answer any questions that y'all may have?
I would love it as a commissioner who cannot see anything to have you do so.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm participating by phone. It would be wonderful.
Completely understandable. So I'll go through the top 5 and we'll start from there.
Thank you.
Our top recommended project is a shared use path on West Richardson Avenue, connecting North Maple Street to West Carolina Avenue. This project is actually part of 3 segments trying to connect North Maple Street and the future bike lanes and sidewalks with the Sawmill Branch Trail down either Richardson and or Doty, depending on what's more feasible. Both of the routes have challenges, whether DOT right-of-way, drainage, or with the Doty Avenue, the railroad right-of-way for Norfolk Southern. So this would be the first segment, the western segment or northern segment, if you will, connecting North Maple to West Carolina. The second project we have on the list is at the intersection
Rick,
of...
can I interrupt you and ask a question, please?
Sure, absolutely.
This is Tom Hart. You have a score on most of the projects,
Yep.
a BPAC score, and I guess that's how you determine priority or helps you determine it.
Correct.
You do not, I don't see one for that first project.
Sure.
Is that because it's new, or what is that?
So this project, I joined the committee 5 years ago. So it is 2015, 2016. This project is the last one from the list prepared in 2016 with the Bike and Pedestrian Advisory Committee. When we went to this new format in, I believe it was 2017, we didn't want to dismiss the good work that the committee did in previous years. So we left those at the top of the list, and everything after this one is basically added in the last 4 years.
Okay, thank you.
And looking at the scoring, and I'll go over that really briefly, the criteria we use for these projects are the amount of pedestrian activity expected or existing, the connectivity the project will have, either filling in sidewalks or connecting like the Sawmill Branch Trail, the traffic counts of the adjacent street, where the higher traffic counts get a higher score because of the higher need to separate bikes and peds from traffic, as well as then constructability and permittability. So is it going to be an easy project on the construction side? And the permittability, is it a town road or DOT road, where we know DOT is going to have some issues, which could make things longer than expected. So any other questions? The second ranked project on our list is the intersection of South Cedar and Doty Avenue. So this is right down from the YMCA, Matt's Burgers. The crosswalk across South Cedar, it's a heavily used crosswalk in our experience. There's a pedestrian sign in the middle, in the median, that gets hit on a fairly regular basis. So this improvement is to install bulb outs at the intersections. So similar to what the town did down at West Richardson and Cedar a couple years ago
Yes.
to make the crossing across South Cedar shorter and therefore safer for pedestrians and
More visible.
exactly more visible, as well as adding the flashing lights. They're called rectangular rapid flashing beacons. So similar to what's on Main Street at Doty, at Azalea Park at Doty, adding those to these locations as well, or this location as well. Any questions on that one?
Sounds great.
The third project is a fairly simple one. It is adding the flashing beacons, the RRFBs, along East Richardson Avenue at the Sawmill Branch Trail. This section of East Richardson got paved by DOT last year, so there's new crosswalks, new pedestrian crossing signs. So this project is just to add flashing beacons to the crossing to help make that crossing more visible for folks getting to and from the Sawmill Branch Trail. Any other questions? The fourth project on the list is again part of the connection between North Maple Street and Sawmill Branch Trail. It'll be from where Sawmill Branch Trail ends today at East Richardson, and making it a full trail all the way to Main Street to the west. There's a good sidewalk. There's a portion of a shared use path today. The town improved the Richardson and Magnolia intersection last year or the year before, but this would basically extend the trail connection from Main Street to the Sawmill Branch, 8, 10, 12 foot wide trail to help connect the future North Maple Street improvements. And then the fifth ranked project we have is again South Cedar Street at West 2nd. This would be adding a bulb out and crosswalks across South Cedar, as well as potentially RRFBs. This intersection is heavily used during like Third Thursdays when the ice skating rink was here over the last holiday season. And a lot of folks are crossing in a curve, horizontal curve, and it's tough to see with the intersection with West 2nd Street. So we believe there's gonna be some challenges with DOT and the permitting of a crosswalk here, but feel that it still is an important location to help enhance visibility and pedestrian connectivity.
Yeah, I have a question for you, Rick.
Sure.
Are you recommending a crosswalk across South Cedar or across Central?
Across South Cedar.
Because it depends on which side of 2nd South Street you're on.
Correct. We across the main road. So across Cedar.
Okay, well,
Yeah, Cedar would be the easier one.
but most of the pedestrian traffic is actually across Central
Right.
because they're coming up Central and they're coming up West 2nd South Street on the sidewalk. And that corner is on. See, Cedar and Central. Cedar stops at the center line of 2nd South Street.
Right.
And
So
Central starts. So if you're putting it in front of the attorney's offices, the big white house on the corner, across, then you're putting it across Cedar.
right. So I think either side we haven't discussed fully and kind of where it should be. But you make some very good points on if it's on the southern side of the intersection as well.
DOT has turned us down numerous times on the central side of it because you can't see it if you're coming up from Richardson.
Right.
Because of that curve, you can't see it. So
Right.
I think the flashing beacons, if that's part of the basic design, may offset some of their. don't get me wrong, I'm highly in favor of a crosswalk right in that area.
Mhm.
And most of it, the best we can do to get it in there. And I believe going in up front with the flashing beacons as part of the project is the way to gain traction with DOT, because they're going to throw up you can't see it because of the curve.
Yep. And I think that they'll take that all into account when the flashing signals went on Main Street at Doty and Azalea Park and Second there. Those were the first flashing lights that DOT has put on at unsignalized locations in the Charleston area. So we would propose to use a similar approach for DOT. Include the bulb outs to again show them that we're making the crossing shorter there, and further give the vehicles a sense of that they should be expecting pedestrians there, where there's a lot of pavement at the intersection today, in the curve, at the attorney's office where there's usually a large SUV parking in that closest spot as well. So.
Yep. All right.
Rick, Kevin Carroll, on 2 and 5, these two places, I recommend you take a ride down some night. We've gone to Matt's Burgers in the evening, and we now bring our own flashlight because the street lighting there, they can't see you crossing the road no matter what. Some of the lights are old. Some of them are actually in the trees down by the attorney's office. So that's another factor too. You may build this, but if the lighting above you is not showing these people where they are, I think that's a concern too. And they need to look at lighting at some point. But take a ride some night and go see what you think.
Yeah, no, I very much agree with that, and I would agree to include lighting as part of these projects. So again, pedestrians are illuminated out there, even on third Thursdays when folks are going home. It's tough to see folks in a lot of places downtown.
Thank you.
Well, I appreciate those inputs. Is there interest by the commissioners to go further down the list?
Well, he's on number 4. Let's hear number 5.
5 is what we were just talking about, Elaine.
5 was, okay, that's
At
good.
Cedar Street and West 2nd South Street. That's right there at that corner with
Right.
St. Luke's and.
Right, yeah,
So basically
nope,
what y'all.
sounds good to me.
What y'all have done in the past is just made a recommendation to council, just to basically lend your support to this list. So I don't know if that's what y'all would like to do again this year, but that's what we've done in the past.
I would like to make a motion to send this to council with our approval of the Bicycle Advisory Committee's recommendations for the coming year.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further comment? Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? I think it's unanimous. Thank you, Rick.
Thank
you,
you.
Rick.
All right, the last item on the agenda is just an update on the comprehensive plan and master transportation plan. I sent an email to everyone that you should have received that gave you details on the public input that we're going to be doing for that. We're going to do 3 different virtual public kind of Q&As with our consultant on August 10th in the morning, August 11th in the mid-afternoon, and August 12th in the evening. We hoped that by splitting it into 3 different days and 3 different times, we could reach the most people who may have different schedules. So that's the idea with that. So that's coming up in August, and y'all should have already received the draft plan. That plan is also available on the website for the public as well to look at. And then following those public input meetings, it will come to y'all at your August 17th meeting for the public hearing. And if you're ready to make a recommendation to council at that time.
How are these virtual inputs going to work? Are those going to be Zoom meetings that somebody has to sign up for in advance? or
You do have to register in advance. It's similar to Zoom. It's actually, I think, a WebEx meeting. But yeah, you do, if you go to our website, there'll be a link to the project website, and it'll, you'll just need to register in advance for one of those 3 public input meetings. At this time, the August 17th meeting for your public hearing, we're not sure whether that'll be virtual or in person. So we will keep people appraised of that as that continues to change, unfortunately. But yes, those 3 that people do need to go online and register to participate in one of those. They'll receive a link to join it, and they will be able to convert. They'll be able to listen to a presentation about it, and then also ask questions of the consultant and staff.
All right, thank you.
Jesse, what are the dates again, please?
August 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Okay, and since I'm on the CPAC, and I think Betty is too, should we be at all of those or just?
If you can, that would be great, but it's not absolutely necessary.
Will our role be active in any way, or are we just listening?
You could certainly help, with any questions or information about how it was, why certain decisions were made on certain things, that type of thing. You could certainly participate in that way, yes.
Okay, but it's mostly to allow the public to speak to our consultant, and he's going to explain, he or she will explain.
Yeah, they're gonna do a brief presentation just to go over the plan, how we developed it, what all is included, why it's included, what, that type of thing, and then basically open it up for like a Q&A. So it depending on the type of question asked, it may be the consultant that answered it. It may be myself or other staff, or it may be somebody who was on the CPAC. So.
Okay, and then you expect that it'll be in final form for our meeting the following Monday?
Yes, it should be. Well, I mean, I don't foresee any major changes from that public input, but any minor changes or anything like that that are requested and, we feel are reasonable requests will be made before that meeting on Monday.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's all I have.
All right. Does anyone else have
Mr.
anything?
Mr. Chairman, I move to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank
Aye.
you, folks.
Thank you
Kevin.
all.
Kevin, I have
Thanks.
a comment for you.
Yes, sir.
Normally, when you ask about a place where you put your car, that word has an R in it.